And I call William Irwin.
Deputy Speaker.
Sinead Dennis.
Good Deputy Speaker, and I thank the member for his question. The Assembly Commission strives to be an exemplar organisation in terms of sustainable development and has implemented a range of measures to enhance the energy efficiency of Parliament buildings. Recent projects have included the installation of lower powered LEDs in the corridors and the Assembly and Senate chambers. In addition, light sensors have been installed to minimise energy usage when required in toilets and other common areas. The member will be aware that we also replaced the building's old flood lighting system with a new energy-efficient programmable LED system, and we continue to review the time schedules for all of the external lighting that we have control of. The Assembly Commission sets ambitious targets in relation to energy use and is committed to achieving year-on-year reductions. For example, for the reporting year 23-24, we managed a 17% reduction in gas usage and a 2% reduction in electricity usage against the baseline year of 2019-2020. The Assembly Commission's Sustainable Development Office works closely with a number of partners to introduce energy-saving solutions and ensure continuous improvement in our energy efficiency. One such example is working with the Department for the Economy in relation to the geothermal technology on the Stormont estate and investigating possible options for heating.
William Irwin for a supplementary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and can I thank the member for a response. Does the member have any idea, or the member aware of any plans to increase electric charging points at the Parliament buildings?
Sinead Dennis.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I don't know of any plans offhand at the minute. It is something that is discussed regularly at our Commission meetings, and I'm aware that there aren't enough, and there's maybe problems with the timing that's allowed for electric chargers. So that is something that we will definitely take back to our Commission meetings, and I'm sure there'll be other members that will be eager to hear what the outcome of those discussions are.
I call Keith Buchanan.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Question 2, please.
Thank you. I call Trevor Clark.
With your permission, Deputy Speaker, I'm going to take questions 2 and 4 together. So can I thank the members for their questions. The ongoing situation with the roof repairs on Parliament buildings is an issue that the Assembly Commission has taken extremely seriously and has reviewed updates of its recent meetings. Until recently, the Assembly Commission has refrained from undertaking a full range of remedial works based on advice that this could prejudice the legal position of the Commission. As the member will be aware, the Commission has issued proceedings against Hamilton Architects and Tracy Brothers for negligence, breach of statutory duty and breach of contract arising from the defects to the roof. The Assembly Commission received advice on February this year due to the ongoing deterioration and associated health and safety concerns, and following the exchange of expert architect and engineer reports with the 2 defendants, the legal position had changed and that the Assembly Commission could now undertake remedial works to address all of the defects. As a result, the Assembly Commission is now moving forward to appoint contractors under a construction and procurement delivery framework to undertake immediate health and safety repairs and to scope out the full range of remedial repairs required. The initial health and safety works will be carried out over the summer. The full remedial works will prevent any further deterioration, address the issues related to the damage to stonework, and will resolve the ongoing issues of water ingress within Parliament buildings. A detailed plan outlining the timetable for these works will be produced following the scoping works carried out in the summer recess. The Assembly Commission will continue its legal action against Hamilton Architects and Tracy Brothers to recover the full costs of these repairs.
Thank you. Call Keith Buchanan for a supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank the I was going to call you Minister there, but that'll be a bit much. The member so far for the answer. My question is then, what's the cost, or any idea cost of the remedial works just to make the roof safe?
Trevor Clark.
So in terms of the current indicative cost for all the necessary remedial works is in the region of 2.4 million. These costs were produced as part of the ongoing litigation process. Accurate costings will only be available when the scope and requirements for these works has been finalised and tendered.
Harry Harvey for a supplementary.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And our previous members mentioned the funding, so I'm just going to mention the timeline. You mentioned that it will be looked at during the summer recess, which is great. So do you think that the works would be fit to be carried out maybe before winter? Thank you.
Mr Clark.
I mean, there's been various conversations in relation to the time frame. We're only now at the position that we can actually do the scoping works and in terms of the full procurement process, but we're anticipating that it will start as soon as possible after the summer recess.
Call Patsy McGlone.
Mr Deputy Speaker, and thank you, Mr Clark, for your answer. And I'm glad to see at least some works commencing now to address the problems. Can you advise, please? You referred to remedial works and health and safety works, and any of us who travel the building, like buckets full of water in the middle of a corridor, isn't the ideal situation, and staff working in circumstances where you can clearly see the water ingress right down towards the electrical works. Mr Clark, can you advise if structural assessment has been made of the damage done to the actual structure of the building itself by persistent water ingress?
Trevor Clark.
There's been various inspections carried out of the building. To what nature some of this we won't know until some of the areas are uncovered, i.e. stripping back some of the external materials. But the Commission, I can assure the members, the Commission is very exercised about all of this. We would like to have moved much quicker, but following the legal advice, we've had to go at this pace to allow both of those parties that we're seeking legal redress from, to allow them to respond to each stage.
Okay. Members, question 3 has been withdrawn. Question 4 has been answered, so I call Karen Killam.
Raku, question number 5.
I call Robbie Butler.
I thank the member for her question. The Assembly Commission recognises that supporting a healthy lifestyle is crucial for various aspects of life, including physical health, mental well-being and the overall quality of life. The Assembly Commission encourages its staff and members to avail of sustainable modes of transport, which contributes to a healthy lifestyle. Staff and members are able to take advantage of the Cycle to Work scheme and Get Active, which is TransLink's tax-smart scheme for commuter bus travel, and an interest-free loan scheme for annual commuter cards. There's also a bicycle station that has tools for making it easier for staff to cycle to work. I have to commend the member for West Belfast, Jerry Carroll, who zooms up and down here every day on his bike. Staff also have access to the walking trails within the Stormont estate and to an outdoor gym area. In terms of the physical building, the Assembly Commission endeavours to ensure the health, safety and well-being of all those working in Parliament buildings. Offices within Parliament buildings have natural light and ventilation. Workers have access to drinking water throughout the building and are encouraged to take breaks away from their workstation. Display screen equipment assessments are undertaken for those working in the building, which assesses an individual's work environment, including light, ventilation, noise and temperature. Unfortunately, there is little capacity within the building to offer further facilities. In its restaurants, the Assembly Commission aims to provide Parliament building users with healthy eating choices through its catering contract, and this includes a selection of daily menus offering a choice of healthy options, making every attempt to reduce salt, saturated and hydrogenated fat, sugar content and increase fibre content in its menus, and also using the healthiest possible cooking methods.
Killam for supplementary.
So going Boyhis, Lesh and Robbie for that response. I actually feel sorry for you having to read that out, to be totally honest. So we can't cycle around Parliament buildings. That's not what I asked. I asked what's happening in Parliament buildings. I appreciate the response you give in relation to food and that. And I do know it's a grade A listed building, but could there not be markers around the floors for people who walk around here, as I do myself, just to let them know? Because that's the question that I particularly wanted an answer to, and appreciate you were given that, but maybe you could bring it back for something a bit more specific. Thank you.
Butler.
There's a lot of answers that I've got here. This one here might talk slightly more directly to your query in regard to maybe distance markers on the floors, if that is perhaps it. And the Assembly Commission recognises that this is a positive suggestion seeking to promote a healthy and active environment and a commitment that the Assembly Commission shares. Given that Parliament Buildings is a Grade A listed building, the Assembly Commission has to be mindful of the architectural integrity and heritage of the buildings. Therefore, placing distance markers on floors or walls of corridors could or would be problematic. However, the Assembly Commission will give consideration to other ways of highlighting the distances around our buildings, and I'm thinking what our schools doing in the Daily Mile, which would be a wonderful initiative, and I certainly, as a Commission member, will personally take that back to the Commission for the member. Thank you.
Matthew Till.
Thank you, Speaker, I echo what Carolyn McCoolin said about admiring Robbie for reading that entire answer out. There are a couple of specific challenges around healthy lifestyle. As fascinating as this building is, it is very, very poorly located in terms of public transport. Probably the worst in these islands in terms of legislatures. What more can be done with Translink to encourage greater connectivity in terms of public transport to Parliament buildings? Number two, can the Commission look at increased shower facilities for people who do choose to either cycle to work? Mr. Kyle was mentioned, but others like myself do try and use the grounds to run, for example, when we get the opportunity. There are very limited shower facilities. Those are two obvious things I think that could be improved. Number one, public transport access to this building, and number two, shower facilities.
Mr. Butler.
I thank the member for his subsequent question. I actually agree with the member with regard to the shower facility. For instance, I'm not sure if the member is aware there are 2 showers that are located here, but they're coming and have to be shared. Just make sure there's nobody in there when you go in. But I would encourage the members to make use of the wonderful grounds, to get out, to run, to walk, to take it in consideration. But it is a matter for the Commission to take up perhaps with the Infrastructure Minister with regard to his ambition for active travel. Certainly something as leaders we should be setting the example for, but the member will also recognise that this is a historical building with some limitations. However, the Commission will take on board the member's ambition and statements and look into that for him. Thank you.
Daniel McCrossan.
Speaker. Mr Butler, for those of us that have suffered the consequences of putting on the Storm and Stone, what advice would you give to members of this House to keep more active? And is there any plans by the Commission to bring about maybe gym facilities for unfortunate members like myself?
Significant interest in this one, Mr. Butler, so we're waiting here.
You could cycle from Strabane.
Yes, the members, there's an offer for you to cycle from Strabane. There is no capacity to build the gym. It's something that I asked actually in 2016. And we do have busy schedules as MLAs, but I would say this, outside of that, we have a duty to ourselves to look after ourselves too. And I think it's not a Commission piece of advice, but my own is to join a gym in the first instance and possibly allocate some time. But with regard to what we can do here, it is about, again, that piece that I said about showing that leadership, looking after ourselves, our own well-being and setting that standard. The Commission has that as a priority, and the Commission will continue to look at these items on an ongoing basis, and it would be my ambition that perhaps in the future we might come up with some kind of solution in regard to that.
I call Cathy Mason.
Concordia, question number 6, Lady Hull.
Dennis.
With your permission, I'm going to answer questions 6 and 14 together. So I want to thank both members for their questions and assure members that the security of staff and members working at constituency offices is something that the Assembly Commission does take extremely seriously and has discussed very frequently in recent times. The Assembly Commission recognises we're in a different environment now to when the Assembly was first established, particularly with social media, and is mindful of the experiences of members across the House. The Assembly Commission considered a number of options and has agreed that additional funding will be made available to members for the provision of security measures. As members will be aware, financial assistance is provided through the Assembly Members' Salary and Expenses Determination 2016 as amended by the Assembly Members' Salary and Expenses Amendment Determination 2020. So members currently can claim for health and safety and security measures at their constituency offices either from the £7,000 constituency office operating expenses budget or from their £4,000 establishment expenses budget. Both of these limits were increased in 2020 to reflect the inclusion of security measures in the list of admissible expenditure. The Assembly Commission, though, has agreed further funding should now be made available to members to be used exclusively for the provision of security measures at constituency offices and or members' private dwellings. This additional allowance may also cover the provision of lone worker devices should members elect to purchase these devices for themselves or their support staff. £4,000 will be made available to members for this purpose. Further changes will be required to the determination to give effect to this decision. A revised determination will be published once the specifics of this provision and a number of other administrative changes are agreed. The head of Usher Services has also recently been in contact with PSNI, which has historically taken the lead in terms of personal security matters and crime prevention advice, and the PSNI has provided advice on these matters to members upon request. This has included carrying out survey visits to constituency offices and providing advice and recommendations relevant to personal and physical security measures. The PSNI also provided a briefing for members and their office staff at Parliament Buildings on the 30th of April this year. This briefing was well attended and provided an opportunity for members and their staff to seek personal security advice and raise specific issues regarding their personal security.
I ask if you need an extra minute on this answer.
No, we'll finish up. The Assembly Commission officials are currently in discussions with PSNI regarding the possibility of a further briefing session for members at Parliament Buildings in the in the autumn. Thank you.
I call Cathy Mason for supplementary.
Given the recent media coverage of security incidents at MP offices, what is the position regarding the provision of personal security advice and funding for members of other parliaments?
Thank you. Assembly Commission officials have been in brief discussions with counterparts at other UK parliaments and the Houses of the Oireachtas, and whilst all have confirmed the provision of funding for member security, including that at constituency offices, only the Scottish Parliament and the Houses of the Oireachtas have released any details. The Scottish Parliament has made provision for up to £5,000 for MSPs for the installation of security measures at constituency offices, with further provision of up to £2,000 for members' private dwellings and £500 for Edinburgh accommodation. The Houses of the Oireachtas currently provides up to a maximum of €5,000 or 50% of actual costs, whichever is the lesser, for measures installed across all of the members' properties.
Entry from David Honeyford.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thanks for your answer, but can you give us a timeline just on when that additional funding will be available?
Sinead Ennis.
Thank you. Yes, I know this is important to members to know when they can actually avail of this. The existing determination has to be changed. The specifics of this new provision are still to be agreed by the Assembly Commission, and once these and a number of other administrative changes are agreed, our revised determination will be considered by the Assembly Commission. It's anticipated that the Assembly Commission will consider a revised determination in September, and members are reminded that in the meantime, should costs arise relating to security measures, these are recoverable under the provisions of the current determination. It's anticipated that if such costs are incurred prior to the publication of a new determination, that they could then be transferred to the new cost provision when the determination is published.
Thank you. Supplementary from Steve Aiken.
Thank the member for her remarks so far. The member will be aware that many members of our staff have a large degree of disquiet, and particularly in the recent briefings, and I make a declaration of interest, my office has been indeed threatened by paramilitaries. We have had the PSNI have come to our office. They have made recommendations, and the recommendations that the PSNI have made, which are similar for those of a Westminster MP, completely outstrips the amount of money or consideration that support there is likely to be. When will the Commission get serious about this?
Dennis.
I want to assure the member that the Commission is deadly serious about this. Yes, we are. That is why we are, at our last Commission meeting, this was a hot topic, and we've pressed officials to make sure that should, and as I said in the previous answer, should any instances occur, members should feel free to act immediately, not wait to the determination. If I can finish, not wait to the determination in September, and they can recoup those costs once the final determination is made.
I call Mark Durkin. Alistair.
Member for his question. The Assembly Commission strives to be an exemplar organisation in terms of sustainable development and has implemented a range of measures to reduce the carbon footprint and improve the environmental performance of Parliament buildings. Over the recent years, the Commission has introduced rainwater collection for flushing, some toilets, photovoltaic panels and solar thermal tubes. The heating boilers were also replaced with energy-efficient gas boilers at that time, and subsequent to that, the Commission also made modifications and improvements to the building's energy management system, BEMS. We have replaced the light bulbs with more energy-efficient LED lamps and installed hippos in toilets to reduce the amount of water used to flush. The Assembly Commission sets ambitious targets to help reduce our carbon footprint for energy use, waste generated and paper consumption, and is committed to achieving year-on-year reductions. For example, for the reporting year 23-24, we managed a 17% reduction in gas usage and a 35% reduction in paper usage against the baseline year of 19-20. Working with the Stormont Estate Maintenance Unit and the waste contractor, we have zero waste to landfill policy. The Assembly Commission Sustainable Development Office works closely with a number of partners to introduce energy-saving solutions and ensure continuous improvement. One such example is working with the Department for the Economy in relation to the geothermal technology on the Stormont estate and investigating possible solutions for heating.
Curtin for supplementary.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and thank Ms McAllister for that answer that contains a lot of good news and positive actions that the Assembly has taken. The new energy management system is certainly very efficient. It still manages to make this place unbearably warm. But could Ms McAllister outline to us or undertake to bring back to us a report on how the Assembly Commission is progressing towards the eradication of single-use plastics in Parliament buildings?
McAllister.
I thank the member for that question. This was an issue that did arise before my time in the Assembly Commission, and I understand that there will be and there should be progress on it, and I can commit that this will be brought onto the agenda for the forthcoming Assembly Commission meeting again.
Okay. Members, as previously indicated, question 8 has been withdrawn, so we move to Cheryl Brownlee.
Thank you. Question 9.
Member Clark.
Okay, thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Can I thank the member for her question? The Assembly Commission recognised the importance of a family-friendly working environment as it contributes to a healthier, more engaged and productive workforce, whilst enhancing the organisation's reputation and competitiveness. However, the Assembly Commission also recognises that there are particular challenges to a family-friendly working environment in Parliament institution where there is a need to be responsive to developments, and it's not likely always to be possible to do this within the office, strictly within office hours. The Assembly Commission has a number of policies for its employees to avail of. These include the hybrid working policy, which offers the staff the opportunity to work from home where possible, carefully balanced against the realities of business need and the importance of colleagues being together for strong team dynamics, and a staff hours at work policy, which affords staff the opportunity to accrue additional time worked, which can be taken during recess or within business whenever business require. There is also the special leave policy, which gives the staff the statutory right time of care for dependents. From the member's perspective, the Assembly Commission's remit relates solely to the provision of allowances to enable the members to exercise their functions as members. The Assembly Commission has therefore agreed to provide additional support to a member who is absent due to parental leave to carry out the constituency work that the member would otherwise have undertaken. It is intended that the provision is incorporated into a new determination which is to be considered by the Assembly Commission in September. The Assembly Commission is also aware that there are likely to be issues relating to members' work here in Parliament buildings arising from periods of maternity or paternity leave, adoption leave or shared parental leave. There is limited provision for the members' absences in the standing orders as regards, for example, participating in debates and voting. Procedural matters in the first instance would be for the Committee on Procedures. Such issues are not within the responsibilities of the Assembly Commission, and for instance, the proposal to allow a replacement member for this to place cover for a period of parental leave would be required of a change to the 1998 Act and outside the remit of the Commission.
Does the member need an additional minute for this?
If possible, sorry, I should have indicated.
Of course, yeah.
Mr. Speaker. The Assembly Commission has no role in determining the salaries or pensions payable to members. However, it should be noted that the salary of a member is not reduced as a result of deciding to take parental leave. Members have previously asked for the provision of a childcare facility in Stormont Estate, and following inquiries by the Assembly Commission, the Department of Finance confirmed in September 23 that it had no immediate plans for a childcare facility on the Stormont Estate. The Assembly Commission has considered the matter further since, but remains open to exploring cooperation on such a project, but without other partners, the viability of this proposal is questionable.
For supplementary.
I thank the member for his response there. Could you provide some more detail just in terms of the parental leave, especially for those caring for a child with a disability?
Robert Clark.
So the Commission has looked at this in detail, but in the first instance, the first one that the Commission is bringing forward and consideration is for maternity, paternity, adoption, in the first instance. We think this would be easier and less complicated, but the Commission is going to do another piece of work following this for other opportunities in terms of general leave for members, particularly with parental responsibilities or indeed sickness. But we believe that work will be slightly more complex and will take a longer period of time to get us that work through. So in the short term, we're actually going for those other ones that I've already indicated.
Call Andrew McMurray.
Question 10, please.
Nuala McAllister.
The member for his question. Financial assistance for members is provided under the provisions of the Assembly Members' Salaries and Expenses Determination NI 2016, as amended by the Assembly Members' Salary and Expenses Amendment Determination NI 2020. This determination enables members to recover those costs incurred on carrying out their assembly duties, including providing constituent services through the establishment of a constituency office. Currently, members may claim the costs of making adjustments to the constituency office for persons with a disability, which were not covered in the terms of the lease. These may be claimed either from the constituency office operating expenses, otherwise referred to as COOE, and establishment expenses provision. These allowances are capped either at $7,000 annually for COOE or at $4,000 over the course of a mandate for establishment expenses. The provisions of the determination are such that it does not prescribe the nature of adjustments that may be claimed for, so this should be taken to cover any cost required but not covered in the terms of the lease. The financial assistance provided under the determination is to cover the costs that members incur wholly and exclusively in carrying out their assembly duties. While the determination makes specific reference to adjustments at the office, this should not be taken to be exclusively the only cost that may be claimed. Should a member incur other costs associated with providing constituency services to people with disabilities, these costs may also be claimed from the annual COOE budget. This may include, but not be limited to, sign language or interpretation services.
McMurray for supplementary.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. What plans are there to consider further adaptations to Parliament buildings to improve accessibility?
I thank the member for his question. The Commission is very aware of the need to ensure that Parliament buildings is accessible for people with disabilities, and a number of alterations and improvements have been carried out for that purpose in recent years, including the installation of external and internal access ramps, alterations to staircases and lifts, the installation of the changing places facility, and upgrading of hearing loop systems, and the provision of automatic opening doors in the basement, ground floor and first floor corridors. The Head of Facilities Management has commenced discussions with the Department of Finance Property Division on the commissioning of a disabled access survey to determine if there are further improvements that should be made to enhance accessibility within Parliament buildings. And following completion of this survey, Building Services will examine possible improvements and consult with members as necessary.
Call Sinead McLaughlin.
Question 11, please.
Robbie Butler.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. I thank the member for her question. Under the terms and conditions of the contract, which commenced in January 2023, staff employed in Parliament buildings for the delivery of catering, cleaning and porterage and related help desk services are directly employed by Aramark. Therefore, terms and conditions of employment are a matter solely for Aramark. Staff are paid in line with Aramark's rate of pay submitted as part of its successful tender bid, and if necessary, when the living wage rate per hour is statutory reviewed. As such, discussions on pay enhancement for staff are exclusively between Aramark and their employees.
McLaughlin for supplementary.
Thank you for your answer. Will the Commission ensure that any contractors engaged to deliver these services, catering and cleaning services, are assessed on the terms and conditions that they offer their employees? I think we need to show leadership there, and I think that, you know, if we are promoting within the economy vision good jobs, that we need to make sure that we have a framework for assessing any contractors on that criteria.
Quick reply, Mr Butler, please.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Thank the member for her supplementary. The Commission obviously takes a number of considerations when we're discussing these things. One of those was actually a number of contractual options, including bringing the staff, providing the services under the employment of the Assembly Commission or in-house. These were included in the business case considered by the Assembly Commission, but that option wasn't selected as the Assembly Commission does not possess the expertise, neither the technology or the external upstream partners. But the member's point is a good one, and that's one that we will take back to the Commission to ensure that it's something that we consider in every negotiation. Thank you.
Members, that concludes questions to the Assembly Commission. Members, item 5 on the order paper, the adjournment. The question is that the Assembly do now adjourn, and in conjunction